cheers to another episode of the Weinnotes Podcast. I'm your guide, AJ Weinzettel, on this journey of stories showcasing the people behind the wonderful world of wine, where we dive into conversations ranging from terroir, viticulture, to favorite music, superpowers, and more. Please enjoy this episode of the Weinnotes Podcast. Kenny, Allison, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I really appreciate you taking the time.
And AJ, thank you for the time. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, no, this is going to be fun. I know, Kenny, I had you on last year. We weren't in person, and Allison, you weren't here. So there's been so much going on, and I'm just excited about everything that's going on. I just wanted to let everybody else know.
I just realized I'm wearing the same jacket, I think, from the original video, which not planned. Yeah, creatures of habit.
We all do that. Before we get started, can I pour us a little bit of a blind wine?
Let's do it.
Sure.
I mean, one of us can't have a blind wine, so I brought you a blind water.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So if you can guess what it is, kudos, but if you just want to say, ooh, yummy water, feel free.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Elevated in the stemware.
Yes, very nice.
All right. And Kenny, as you know, whatever you want to say, it's completely up to you.
Okay.
If you just want to say it's yummy or yucky or it's gorgeous or whatever.
Color's gorgeous. Yeah, already.
Normally I try to find a connection with the wine. There is no real connection.
Okay.
The only real connection, and I'll just say it out loud, it's sparkling. I mean, hello, I had to bring some sparkling. Yeah. And it probably lost some of its fizz coming in traveling.
No, that's fine. People decant their sparkling wine or champagne sometimes, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's also Super Bowl Sunday, so I mean, it seemed appropriate also to have sparkling.
Yeah. Very pretty nose. Floral. Got this minerality to it for sure. Very clean as well. Brilliant color. Brilliant clarity. I didn't even taste. I just went for the nose. Very good. Little lost stone fruit, pear. Definitely feels old world to me. Got some age to it, but this one's gonna be a stumper for me, I think. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
Well,
it's very good. Thank you for sharing. I'm gonna keep thinking on this one.
Well, at the end, I will reveal what it is.
Okay. Right. But can I guess before?
Okay. I mean, you can guess now. You can guess in between, or you can whatever you want to do. It's your call.
All right.
Yeah. So trying to catch up a little bit from last year. Holy cow! The summer of 21, you reached out to me via DM on Instagram and let me know that you were having some sparklings come out, and they're coming out this spring.
They are.
Holy Toledo!
Yeah. Quite the ride.
We've been waiting a long time.
Yeah. And planning for this moment is just like one step at a time, right? And I think the two wines that we're going to release are going to be fun wines. Mm-hmm. Really limited, so we don't have too much of it, but it's only the start of our kind of like sparkling vision.
So these are grapes from 2020, picked well before any fires.
Right.
And we've been just steadily building our wines that are on the lees, just more and more sparkling. And so we're kind of hitting that tipping point where we're ready to release, and eventually it'll be more and more sparkling and fewer stills, but we'll always still have a couple of Chardonnays for sure.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. And
that was for your sparkling write-up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was. And I wanted to continue to do it. There's so many things I want to do.
Sure.
There's just sometimes I gotta let things go because there's just too many things I want to accomplish.
Yep. Yeah. No, it's something back then in 21, we were sort of like growing our portfolio, and then 22 even more, and 23 definitely even more. So yeah, what Allison was just mentioning, like we're on this inflection of this year we'll probably do 99% sparkling and just a little bit of still Chardonnay. So
Right.
that's been our vision from the get-go, is to be traditional method sparkling wine forward.
Yeah, we've kind of reached a point where we couldn't really do it all by hand anymore. So like this last tirage, last summer we did 600 bottles in one day.
Cases.
Oh, sorry, cases. Yeah. In one day with just like 2 6-ounce fillers and a good team of friends.
Well, yeah, and you were passing out like peanut butter jelly sandwiches,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Oh my
yeah.
Yeah.
Because we weren't eating. Like, that was the thing. My buddies and I, and when I'm working, it's just like, I'm not taking care of myself. You make sure I do that. So, especially during harvest, it's like food delivery on hand. But during tirage, you were just like handing handfuls of peanut M&Ms and peanut butter and jelly. I don't think we had more peanut butter in that day just to like sustain us through. So
Yeah, no, that is amazing. But I'm curious. You all did up like a huge business plan, like when you were up in like Jersey.
Yeah.
Yep.
Are you staying true to that business plan?
It has evolved quite a bit. So when we first wrote that, I mean, we were looking at a lot of resources from different extensions, like
Right.
from different universities and all the things. And it was like the gold standard business plan. Like if we had unlimited money,
Of course.
this is how we would run our business. And that wasn't reality. So it's changed quite a bit, but we recently, refreshed it actually in terms of being able to secure financing for some of this equipment.
Right.
And so it is what it is. I feel like we're really optimistic and excited about the future.
Yeah.
But it looks very different than when we started, and it was 2017 when we wrote that business plan.
Right.
But each step kind of builds on itself, and so if we hadn't done that, we wouldn't have gotten to the next step and the next step. And
Right.
we've had a lot of help along the way. Definitely, we have a small business association mentor and people in the industry, and so a lot of different people who have helped us get to where we are now.
It is exciting. When I walked in the door here of the facility, seeing all the bottling equipment, my jaw just went to the ground.
Yeah.
It is amazing to see.
No, that's great. I mean, this is our little cuvée. I've been kind of dubbing it, and if it wasn't for friends and people in the industry, we wouldn't be here. Because even Friday, Andrew Davis was given kind of free rein to Lee Beck to come and help on Friday, and Ari, who used to be at Groshaw, he worked with Andrew over harvest last year and has been doing work with Isabel. So everybody's been super generous with their time and capacity to help us, because it looked very different a week ago. It was a little bit chaotic.
Right.
Cardboard boxes were everywhere, bubble wrap everywhere, and so it looks pretty dope.
Yeah, it's changing a lot. And a few weeks before that, there were barrels in here and tanks, and so it's evolved quite a bit. And in the next few days, it'll continue. And
Yep.
we're just so excited.
Yeah.
So,
I would be excited too. I mean, it's been a very long journey. I mean, you still have a lot of runway ahead of you, but holy cow,
Yeah.
you're still doing amazing.
Yeah, dreaming crazy and more exciting things, and that I hope are on the horizon for sure. So,
Right.
yeah.
And I'm just trying to recall from a chat you and I had. Did you mention that you're gonna have like some clients here as well to do? So can I know who it's coming so I can write them down and be get all excited for them?
Yeah, totally. Jessica Cortell, we're making wine for. So
Okay.
we have her base wine and have been doing some work with her on that. And Violet Vines has been another big client. So Brian Zawada and April Zawada. So they've been sort of great to bottle. Then we have another number of others. So Piper is getting in the game, Ben
Yeah.
Piper. And
I think you started that
Yeah,
rumor.
yeah,
I did. I just-
manifested it. Now it's true.
I do that quite a bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the Chos might jump in on some things.
Right.
And so we'll see where things end out. But there's a number of other people that have been very interested to, whether it's a la carte, we just want to do riddling or we just want to do disgorging. So, I mean, we're just happy to help where we can because
Right.
they've helped us, and so we're trying to help increase that Willamette Valley traditional method Oregon grown.
It's just so exciting right now. There's so many people looking to get into sparkling wine and traditional method especially, and to be able to like be a part of that and facilitate other brands to help us, to help them grow as people have helped us grow is pretty cool. And it works out really nicely in terms of right now because we're still building up our production, and so we have capacity, and
Right.
as that will change over the next decade or so, but right now like that's a mutually beneficial thing. So yeah, this year is kind of our proof of concept. So we'll just, training, getting up and running, doing a handful of clients, and then next year we'll be on our way.
Yeah. It'll look a little bit different because we're already, we're maxed out for this year. And there's probably some little gaps here and there that we could fill for sure in the production schedule. But one thing we were also getting is another bigger gyro, just to help with our capacity planning for our personal brand, but help others in terms of their timelines. So
That is amazing.
yeah.
So, as part of the business plan, was there a new family member included in that whole business plan?
It was always part of the business plan.
Yeah.
So we're expecting our first in the next few weeks.
Wow.
Or tomorrow.
Maybe
Who
days.
knows? Yeah.
Well, let's just get through the interview here, and then
Yeah, we're really excited about that. And
We don't
there's
know.
always going to be something going on with our business. So family just
Right.
comes in parallel, and we're really excited.
Yeah, it's been in, my purpose has changed because, it's always been a legacy. We want to hopefully, pass it over, but little steps at a time. We think it'd be so cool to, I don't know, I'd be topping with,
The little monkey,
yeah.
Yeah.
crawling all over the rack.
I don't know, I think it'd be fun. So,
I think it would be fun too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting, to have a 15-year-old. She took some, so I'm by day I'm a coder, right? And I love coding. And she took a computer science class this past semester, and I was like, "Ooh, what are you doing? Ooh, can I see this? Ooh, can I see that?" And she could tell that I was super excited about it, but she was like, "Don't get your hopes up. I'm not going to be a coder or anything like that. So just stop thinking about that." I wasn't. I was just excited that you're doing this, and I can talk to you about it.
yeah.
Yeah. You got to keep our expectations open. But
Yeah, definitely.
We're very excited
definitely.
to bring the baby along with us wherever we go, and
It's hard not to think about those moments and get excited and have
Right.
that connection point in the conversation.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course, you have to have those types of hopes and dreams and excitement. Very much so.
Yeah.
Not too long ago, you were on some TV talking about Oregon sparkling.
Yes, that was a great opportunity talking with Claire, and there's so much potential. I mean, there was more to that conversation than what we fit into the podcast interview, and so I think it's with Oregon sparkling wine, it's gonna be more to come for sure.
Yeah. So what did they leave out?
I think it was more the who is doing what other projects are coming in the works,
Right.
and there's more site typicity and things that we're trying to find. I think in Oregon, I think now you have Dan and Jean that are planting high elevation, kind of on the western side of Viola at the top, Windfall with Andy Lytle,
Right.
So it's here, and there are now pockets of the valley that are kind of ideal, and even vineyards that people are like, that never got ripe. Now there's a purpose to that block rather than bulking it out or
Right.
using it for other things. That it can be a really good site for sparkling. So Claire and I, we had some good laughs, and I think I wish we had more time. So I'm curious if there's going to be a Sparklers 3 maybe, or Sparklers 2, because I would love to get involved.
There's definitely a Sparklers 2.
Okay.
Do you know who Joel McHale is?
No.
Have you seen the TV series Community?
Oh yeah,
I've seen a couple of
Yes.
episodes.
Okay. So the Joe McHale is the arrogant kind of leader of the study group. He's going to be in Sparklers too.
Oh, right on.
Yes.
Okay.
And I talked to Jason Wise back in December, and I wish I would have told him. I'm like, so you're gonna get Joe McHale on Sparklers 2. There needs to be a paintball challenge. Right? Because when I think Community, I think of that one episode, and they did it over multiple seasons of a huge paintball competition inside the school.
Yep.
And it was just epic.
Yes.
At the Joy in the house.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I don't know if that
Pop
would go
art.
well. Yeah. Forever changed.
That would be forever changed. Sorry, Andy, if we popped that idea out there.
Yes, literally. Oh man, that'd be cool. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I'm excited about
Because,
that too.
Yeah, it's just such a cool concept that they did in terms of the competition, just kind of the round robin. It seems so there's more sparkling wine in Oregon coming into the market in the next 2 years than ever.
Yes.
I think that's what it's super exciting, and I think there's going to be like those producers that are focused on it, those that definitely want to get on the market trend with it.
Mm-hmm.
So curious to see where it goes in 5, 10, 15, because now that people are planting it and the vine age is getting older and older and more complex, it's going to be really cool to see that evolution.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I don't know, I kind of consider you all part of, like you that chose Dan and Gene at Corollary, kind of part of this Oregon sparkling revolution, right? It's to me, it almost feels like the old times of Oregon, of like everybody kind of coming together to kind of get this thing off the ground.
Yeah.
And it's been fun to watch.
Yeah, it does feel like that. And there's a really good community. Like the people you just mentioned were close friends and talk about it and collaborate
Best
a lot.
friends,
And there's also like the Celebrate Sparkling group, which is kind of more formalized, and that's evolving too, which is exciting. So I think, it'll only become, it's kind of like a snowball effect.
Yes, definitely. And and I've heard rumblings in the air of some big kind of Oregon champagne kind of event, and I'm like, how can I help? I'll do anything, and they're like, I've gotten one call of like, hey, do you have any numbers for this? And I'm like, not really, but here's who I do know of. Oh man,
It's gonna happen. I expressed interest in that because I think it's only time will tell, like when that actually event gets going, because the wines that are coming or like being produced, I'm in a technical tasting group with Andrew and Lundeen. Dan and Gene have been great in terms of like fostering a lot of these events at their house too. So like we are opening bottles and doing blind tastings together, and you
learn a lot.
You learn a lot. The quality is there.
right?
In terms of it, I know we're not champagne. Like we have a marker as far as Oregon sparkling goes, and it's really exciting that from a quality standpoint, the flavor, aroma, texture is giving you an experience that's just as luxurious as champagne. So
Right.
that's what's amazing to me, as far as it would be awesome to be rubbing shoulders at a party or event that is educating customers, educating the market and the somms and the restaurateurs to say like, here's what to do in terms of talking about Willamette Valley sparkling.
Right.
And then at the same time, like, let's pop some big shit, like, and have fun with it. Because joining of the like minds, I think, is helping foster the innovation. Because the more we're sharing, and that's what's been amazing in the technical groups. Like, it's open book in terms of like people have what they're going after and that their style and trying to carve out their niche, and I think we're doing that, and it's very different but similar in terms of how we're going about this. So.
I completely agree, and I don't know how this popped into my head the other day, but Philippe Andre, I think he might be a good person to talk to about this.
Yes, I really wanted. I was just telling this about. And you were talking to him at IPNC.
Yeah, and he's going to be back again this year.
I would love to meet him.
Oh, he is such a good guy.
Yeah. He seemed like a very down to earth.
He is.
Yeah.
And he did Oregon Pinot Camp and did Harvest at Misera.
Oh, sweet.
Nice.
And so, I mean, Oregon is just deep in his heart.
Yeah.
I mean, I had the opportunity to interview him before the day before IPNC. And I hate to admit this, but when I first saw the big flamboyant Philippe Andre, I was like, ooh, okay. But then as I got to know him, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And that was an amazing interview that I had with him.
Yeah. No, he brings a lot of energy, a lot of passion for the product and the brand, and the community. So I think there's that in terms of art, and that's what we noticed when we went to Champagne, because since that conversation we had, we went to Champagne in January, and I think that was the more or less the crux point of all right, we're investing in our future of sparkling, and all the people that we talked to in Champagne were so welcoming. Right. Even Guillaume Diard, Flavia Nowak, those guys have become best friends, Instagram pen pals.
People you very much looked up to, purposefully scheduled these visits with producers that were of sizes and mindsets that we really wanted to learn from, and they did not disappoint at all. It was so nice. They took us in, they showed us all the everything in the cellar, took us in the vineyard. They were explaining how they were pruning to Kenny and why, and different things that they're trying which are new, and we can't wait to go back.
No, we're going back for sure, and little one in tow. And I think that was what was interesting. They were surprised because we went in January. It was freezing.
Right.
It was really cold and snow. It was very picturesque. But they're like, "You want to go in the vineyard?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's starting there.
Right.
You're setting the season for the next 3 years. Because for them, it's the vineyard practices are super complex. They're very standardized. If they're only a half a meter too high, they're gonna get fined. It's super, because they're trying to control the quality of the brand of champagne. So, and I get it. And that was something that they're Guillaume is doing Cordon in his Clos de l'Abbey vineyard on Chardonnay. And I thought that was super intriguing. And I'm like, can we see why the place, why that?
Right.
So yeah, the reasonings were confirmed to me why. So
wow, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. I saw this picture of you. I think it was part of the photo shoot for Friendsgiving.
Oh, yes.
And you're 6 feet up in the air doing the splits. Allison is looking up at you. What in the world? I mean, number one, how did you get that much elevation? Number two, how did you capture it? Number three, how did you even think about doing that? I mean, I know you're athletic and everything, but holy Toledo.
That was the first and only take of that. Nobody believes that,
no
but
other
it's true.
shot.
Wow.
And
one take.
You just jumped off the couch over me, and I think it's such a nice microcosm of our winery and relationship and everything. You're such the dreamer, and you're shooting for the stars, and I'm grounded, and we're we're a good team, and I'm also looking up at you
please don't fall on me.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the photographer that day his name is Josh. His handle is PD Exploration on Instagram, and he's an awesome photographer, and he caught that just so well, and everything was in focus, and
yeah, that was the thing. He's normally I don't this is multiple, because somebody your foot's blurry or your eyes aren't looking here, like at the camera.
Right.
Everything was just like crystalline in terms of the quality there. And I do think we owe Grant Renee a new couch because I might have broke a spring. So
that's a very fun couch. I heard it break a few times throughout the photo shoot.
There were a lot of bodies.
I'm pretty sure Dave threw himself horizontal on it and cracked too. So take full responsibility for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a very fun photo shoot and a really fun event. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, and I assume there's going to be a Friendsgiving 2 this year, right?
That crew's getting together again.
Yeah.
So there will be a Friendsgiving too.
Good. Because holy cow, whoever was the mastermind behind just putting that together and whipping it up, that was really nice.
It
Lois
was
and Jean.
Yeah, I think Jean and then Lois helped drive
Yeah.
it for sure, marketing and
Yeah, and we
It was
were all
awesome.
just like, hell yeah. Everything that came of it, food was amazing from Humble Spirit, like so we're hoping to do it again.
Yeah, and that space is just
Oh,
beautiful.
yeah.
The
It is.
Stillwater building.
Yeah, because the story of that was we were all talking and Dave was on like a sales trip in Mac and Jean happened to be in the area too, maybe like delivering wine as well, but they were like, let's meet, we're here, and the sun was in. They're like, yeah, this might be the spot to do it at. So
Yeah, no, that was amazing. I every morning I go to Starbucks and I get a chai, and the manager of the store, I think she asked me, "Is like, where should I go for after Thanksgiving?" I'm like, "Oh, you got to go to Friendsgiving." And I showed her the pictures, and she's like, "This looks awesome." And then this morning I told her about the Equinox dinner coming up.
Oh yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, I'm going to have to check that out because Friendsgiving was so fun."
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome
Good.
that it's like having this echo effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really good.
Yeah. Equinox is an event they had in the Yosemite Hills, I guess, a decade ago, well before our time. And
It
so
was
this
a
is
long
sort
time
of
ago.
resurrected, and we're really excited to see it happen again. And yeah, it'll be a lot of wineries, a lot of good food, and really pretty location again. So
I am very much looking forward to that.
yeah.
Yeah. It's on my calendar. And Approachment is having their lunch or their launch party
Oh, that day.
from like 4 to 7.
Oh,
Oh,
you're
wow.
Then Equinox is from 7 to 10. I'm
Yeah.
like, my day's planned.
Yeah.
staying at the Joy.
No.
Oh, well, still,
It's a lot for one person.
but it's a party that day. Though.
It is a party that day. It is definitely a party that day. Yeah. No, At the Joy is happening in May.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
So yeah, that will be
you go.
fun.
Yeah.
Perfect timing. Already the birds out there are chirping. The spring bulbs are popping.
Right.
And I'm like, I smell spring. Even yesterday, I'm like, I smell the ocean air. It's blowing in. I mean, it
a
always blows
tease.
in. But yeah, I think it's a
Yeah.
tease.
It's the February tease.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
always call it.
Yeah.
But man, it is exciting.
Yeah.
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 During our last conversation, I was reading back, and you sent me a DM, and you're just like, I listened to your interview, I think with Dan and Jean and somebody else, and I didn't realize that you worked at a grocery store. And so you're like, we need to bring that topic up again and talk about it a little bit. So I personally think my side of the grocery store conversation is kind of bland. I mean, I worked at a grocery store like during my senior year in high school, actually senior year. I mean, I was in Tennessee. I was a bag boy. I was the cashier. I worked in produce, also worked in the meat department. And I have to say that working in the produce department opened my eyes to like what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I'm like, I don't want to do the same thing day in, day out, and not have any challenges whatsoever.
Yeah.
I butted heads with the produce manager because I did all my work. I was supposed to stay until like 8 or something, but I was done with everything at like 6:30. I'm like, out.
Yep.
I got rode up. I stormed out, and I quit. I did come back and work the meat department, but that was a great minute. That's my memory of working at a grocery store.
I mean, you had a, like, you knew what you wanted, and you got a lot of work done. Like, there's efficiencies, and mad respect for the associates that do all the service work at the stores, because, like, that's something customers expect perfection when they walk in.
Right.
And it's so like, that's the thing that they don't see, all the pallets that they're moving, like double stacks, organizing, because as pallets are coming off the truck, it could be fruit with Velveeta, with oats, and, you know, or unless it's a big pallet of apples or big pallet of potatoes, like, which those things move more frequently than some other things like pineapple. So it's very interesting because, like, the associates want to give the customers the best experience, but also they're having metrics that they have to keep up with. Like, so it's like produce doesn't stop. Like, should you be polishing the apples, or, like, you know, making the pyramid or something? Like, you wouldn't have known because you don't, at that time, it's like you don't know or what the customer wants. Like, so translating the customer need down to the associate level, I think, would only help increase the customer satisfaction, but also the customer service. Like, so it's something. It's interesting because everybody sort of grocery's so inherent to our business. Like, I mean, I work for Kroger, so
my first job was at a grocery store.
Yeah, she worked at Kroger. Her first job is a
as a courtesy clerk / bagger.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So all these moments in the customer journey are to help with the satisfaction, and it's interesting. Like, it's a constant evolution, but food is at the center of a lot of things, and food experiences. It's not just like one ingredient. It's somebody's buying the stew meat to have family stew on Sunday, or they're buying wings for Super Bowl Sunday. Like, there are purposes to what they're buying, but also balances to accessibility. Like, if you have people with differences, physical differences, like, how do you help them navigate the store? I saw an associate the other day, like, helping a woman at Albertsons navigate and shop for her, and I was like, wow, that's super. It, like, made me feel warm and fuzzy inside, because I'm like,
they're doing a good job.
Yeah, it's just like, they're doing a good job. They're helping this person. They're walking her to the car, or like her escort car, and getting her home with what she came for. So,
there are so many different aspects to it. So you're a courtesy clerk.
I was, yeah, that was my first job. I had a lot of jobs in high school, you know, every summer and after school, and so bagging and collecting the carts was my favorite activity because I like to be outside. So, and even it was the Seattle area, so it was often, it was summertime, so it was hot and it was nice to be outside. I also worked at Jamba Juice. I worked at a UPS store. That was exciting, actually, because I worked there with my brother, and it was like a family-owned business. That was maybe my first exposure to, like, because it was franchised, like a family-owned business. So that was pretty cool. And then, definitely in college, started taking more science-based jobs. Is definitely where my heart is. So I worked in a microbiology lab doing, like, cell molecular research. I worked in physical therapy office, optometry office. I was trying my hand in all these different pseudo, like, healthcare professions just to see what I liked, and nothing really, like, jumped out at me. I was an EMT on campus. So I tried all these things, and then I graduated with my biology degree, and I was like, now what am I going to do? Like, I knew I wanted to study more. I knew I wanted to keep learning, and I happened to be in the Bay Area tasting wine. I was like, this is a good application of my science background. So that's kind of how it started for me.
No, that is awesome. And we've kind of heard Kenny's side of this story, but not really your side. So, you know, you were, I forget the term, but basically you were like Kenny's tour guide at Washington State. Who fell over heels first? Were you like, ooh, or did he, like, because And the reason I ask this, right, is so like with Dan and Gene, Gene was sitting at a bar one night, having a whiskey, and Dan went up to started talking to her, and that's kind of how they met. And he wanted to get a whiskey, and the bartender never brought him the whiskey, and that's kind of how they met. So it was him approaching her. So I'm just kind of curious, who approached who?
We had the same circle of friends for a long time, and we were good friends for years before we started dating, and we were studying a lot together. There's this thing in graduate school called preliminary exams where you kind of have to prove yourself to get into the next phase of the program. And so we were studying together a lot for that, and I think just spending a lot of time together. And I remember one Christmas break, I was going to drive home to Seattle, and Kenny is like, I was waiting for something for you, and I don't know why. You needed to give me something, and it turns out it was 3 mixed CDs, not one, but 3.
It was a 6-hour car ride.
It was really sweet, and I think that moment I was like, oh yeah, he likes me, and it was good music, and I listened to it for a long time until actually we just sold. I had a Honda Civic that I've had since high school, and we just kind of sold that, and that was our last car with all the CDs in it. Yeah.
I feel like the Yukon had the CD player because Rick had he had those CDs in
there's a CD player in there. Yeah. Or there was.
There was.
Broke. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways.
So I think that was, I think you liked me first. But we were good friends, so
that's cool. What are 1 or 2 songs that really stood out on those 3 CDs to you?
Ooh, I think there was a lot of Lumineers.
I think the Bon Iver, Holocene.
Yeah.
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 There were some other ones there might have been some rap on there too.
Yeah.
I forget. I don't know.
Well.
It was a mix of things. There's always the joke of as the night progresses, the rap comes out. So it's
indie rock, country rap. Yeah.
So, that's how, I don't know, Harvest goes too. There's different phases.
Oh, I'm sure.
Start of the day and then the end of the day. It's,
yeah. No, that's cool. So I always ask this question when I am interviewing couples. And you can decide to be like, nope, I'm not going to answer, and that's cool. So I'm asking both of you. It's the middle of the night. You're woken up from a phone call. Allison, it's Kenny on the other end, and he's in jail.
Oh no!
Oh, God.
What crime has he committed?
Huh. I think it has to be a crime of misunderstanding. You were definitely well-intentioned, and somebody didn't get it. And I don't know what you would have been doing, but I know that would have been the case.
Probably. My words.
Some sort of communication error.
Yeah.
But but you were definitely well-intentioned. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Kenny, it's the middle of the night. You get a phone call. It's Allison, and she's in jail. What has she done?
Probably loitering. The reason why I say that is no, it's because she forgets where she is in time and space sometimes.
Right.
Because she reads so much, and I'll be talking, and it just.
I'm really good at focusing on.
Yeah.
Actually, I thought you were going to say something about. I thought you were going to be like, she didn't leave the bookstore or something. She's locked in there.
Loitering, loitering in the bookstore,
That's cool. I love the expression on your face. I mean, one person immediately when I asked that question was like, murder, and I was like, holy cow,
Jeez.
Really, murder?
We went there.
Yeah.
Something that I personally have been thinking about is I know that there's science. Really, that this is more of a kind of a science question, but it also still kind of boggles my mind. How do you think about creating a wine today that in 20 years will be absolutely phenomenal.
It's like playing chess. You know, you have to think so many steps ahead. And so when we're picking a wine and like even thinking about before then, like thinking about the place where those vines are being planted, you know, you have to think about 10 years from now, because that's probably the first time you're going to taste that wine from that place, especially with sparkling.
Right.
So, like, I give huge credit to Dan and Jean because they're starting this endeavor now, which that fruit probably won't be seen until 2032, maybe.
Right.
So, and that's just like the first of that wine, or when the fruit was made. So even as those vines are maturing, it's like 20 years. What does that wine taste like? When do we have to pick it? How much acid? Customer preferences are changing. So,
right.
Like, I worked in the bourbon industry for a few months coming out of or in between years of grad school. So it was an internship. And that, to me, was so interesting because they were distilling so much whiskey and bourbon on the hopes of 4 years from now, when they release that first stuff, customers are still demanding that. So that was kind of like how we've been thinking about it too, is, you know, we're making so many different wines and base wines to show what is possible. So even with our sparkling wine that we did under cork, and I've been tasting it every quarter, like, there's that's a very different wine versus a wine aged under crown cap. And so that might not get the same age, or it might get more age, or might be dosed with something else. So, like, there's so many levers with sparkling wine that you're making wine 3 times, pretty much.
Right.
And there's all of those factors and attributes that we're going after. It's a long-winded answer. Like, I think it's too complex to really know, but yes, you have to think, like, this wine is amazing right now as a wine because there's not much carbonation in it. So my philosophy and how we've been making is, like, make the wine first, and with the intention of what will that taste like with carbonation, so, and without carbonation, because
right.
as it sits in the glass or in a decanter or over the course of a night without a stopper on a table, like, that wine's changing.
Of course, right.
So
it's definitely risky, and you're playing the long game, and like, you definitely have to look backwards at what you can learn from what you know about how wines evolve and what causes a wine that we like to be how it is, and what did they do, and what do we want to do that's like that, or what do we want to do that's not like that. And I think one thing that Kenny does really well is he's just constantly thinking about it and tasting and reading about it. And, like, we'll be going to bed and I'll be reading, like, my science fiction or my thriller, and he's reading, like, Noble Rot. And it's always on his mind. And so I think that helps a lot.
yeah. No, I mean, we're learning every year, every step, which is the exciting factor. I think that, yeah, it ties into our sciencey background. Like, it's an experiment. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a big experiment. But if we hit it, then great. If we miss it, we learn.
Right.
So it's all positive in the end. It's not some might see it as a failure, but it's like, okay, that's that was something we learned. Let's pivot. So.
Right. Yeah, no, it's cool. It's just a interesting process to think about. I mean, because a lot of consumers, they're like, ooh, there's wine, that to drink it now, and then not even thinking like in 20 years that it's still viable.
Yeah. So you interviewed Jason Wise, and I was listening to this interview with him and Claire. It was like the top 10 wines of the year that they did. And they did a special, you must have been asleep, but we were driving back from California over the holidays. And one thing that interested me was his Franciacorta experience. It was like decades on the lees.
Wow.
And all Blanc de Noir, and they disgorged it, and Jason was like, that was the freshest wine. Like, a lot of times people expect Blanc de Noir to be phenolic. It gets like this interesting kind of medicinal Robitussin. That to me is some of the Blanc de Noirs I've had. It's like Luden, cherries, whatever.
Right.
But no, he was like super fresh. So what they were doing in Franciacorta, they were already like, this wine is going to be sitting for decades. So for them to know what was happening in the matrix, like pH, alcohol, tan, whatever, they had the vision of like, let's see what happens.
Right.
It might not be like, I might not be alive when we disgorge this, but our kids will have fun with it
Right.
later, whether it can sell or not. But
That's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely mind-boggling.
yeah. So I thought that was there. I've learned more by listening to podcasts, reading, Instagram, YouTube, penning, like more than the textbook will treat you. So
yeah.
that to me is why we're trying to learn as much as we can.
Yep. Rapid fire questions, and then we'll reveal the blind wine.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Favorite artist to listen to during harvest?
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
Is that your answer too?
Yeah, I mean, I do like Taylor Swift. I think for me, I like Bon Iver.
Okay.
There's especially his what's the other album? Yeah, Bon Iver. I'll say that.
Nice.
Okay. Favorite indulgent food?
Oh man.
Salt and straw.
Well, that
We don't
yeah,
get in enough.
local.
Local.
Okay.
I'm sweets. All about the sweets.
Yeah.
You're more salty.
I was gonna say like Graders or Skyline. See, like those are Cincinnati favorites,
Right.
but it's just like man, 5 or 4-way with bean. That's like mine.
Yeah. That reminds me. We have a reel on our Instagram of when we made Skyline chili for the team when we were producing at Bjornson a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That's a fun one. If you don't know what Skyline chili is, that will give you an idea.
Okay. I'll
Yeah.
have to research that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has there been a food that you've been craving most during pregnancy?
I wish. I feel like that was one thing I was looking forward to was like crazy cravings, the
Right.
pickles or the chips or whatever. And I just haven't had that. I've had more kind of just, I'm not excited about certain foods that I used to be excited about. So it's more like not true aversions, but just,
Right.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
If you could choose a superpower, what would it be?
Flying.
It's like a transfiguration for sure.
Why?
Why? Because you could transfigure into a bird and I could
Oh,
fly,
there you
or I
go.
could be like,
See?
yeah.
You could be an alligator.
Yeah.
You could be.
I could be another person. I could be
This is why she's my boss.
an
Their
alien.
their vision. Yeah.
Harvest notes, are they digital or handwritten?
Handwritten.
Yeah. Then we kind of digitize the
And then
ones
we
that need to
digitize
be.
them.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that
Yeah.
seems to be a common answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep electronics dry in the cellar.
Yes.
So I need to get the case for the tablet.
Yeah.
So you know how speaking of Super Bowl Sunday, like they have all the like protective things.
Right.
You clearly see the players throw them. It's like if it drops off the press.
Ooh, that just gave me a business idea. Create a iPad case for winemakers.
Yeah.
I mean,
Boom.
yeah,
There you go.
Yeah.
it would be nice because then I could easily be like, okay, this barrel got stirred or this barrel like smelling funky or or feed it like.
Right.
It'd
So-
definitely be more efficient. But I feel like you kind of are like
Analog.
Like you like writing.
Mostly,
It helps.
It's interesting. I've been asking this question for 3 years now, and the majority of the people are like handwritten, a little bit digitized, or it's on a painter's tape on the barrel,
Yeah.
or it's all up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, everything that happens on the barrel, it's on the tape. Like, so
Yeah.
I know,
Anybody who looks at the barrel can track what has
Yeah.
happened, what needs to happen next.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I've seen too many times like a barrel is just 2023, whatever, but you don't, has it been sulfured? Has it been fed? Has it been inoculated? Like, blah, blah,
Right.
blah. So it's, yeah, I want, if something happened, like, you could go in and know.
And just pick it right up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like the fail safe to the notes for sure.
Yeah. Last book you read? And it could be Noble Rot. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Probably Noble Rot, honestly. That I'm waiting for the next issue. I've been reading ecological fictions. So
Interesting.
Yeah, there's this fish and wildlife warden in the middle of Wyoming. What are the Joe Pickett the Joe Pickett
yeah.
series? I
Yeah.
picked that up, and they're just so you can crush them. So,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
pretty
good.
sure my last full book was that audiobook
That's fair.
for the baby.
Right.
It's Expecting Better, Emily Austin.
Yes.
Well, you know, there are so many parenting books out there. I did my share of parenting
Yeah.
books too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah.
All right, shall I reveal the wine?
Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Or do you want to take? Do you want to talk about it more, or
I think it's Lamardier, Vertu, Blanc de Blanc. I don't know. It seems old world to me.
okay?
Very creamy. It's got like that chalky element. So, and it's a great. I mean, it just has like the. Yeah, it smells old world to me. Chardonnay based.
Okay. Well,
Oh God.
I had to pick a grower
Oh,
champagne.
there we go.
So
That's a
There-
good one.
yeah. So you know,
And
just
I'm wrong, but that's fine.
well, it's okay. I
Blanc
mean,
de Blanc, though.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Blanc de Blanc, and you know, quite the family story. And you know, they're only doing Blanc de Blanc right now.
Yep.
And yeah,
Is this is a
When was it disgorged, or what year is it?
well? This is I think it's
I
a
don't-
Blanc- let me see. I'm looking for the code. 19, but well, 2019
Was the vintage?
was the vintage. I can't find the code. Oh, well, it's rubbed, but that's fine.
So
Oh, it has the NFC though. Do you have the phone?
I
It
don't
has-
have my phone.
This I think is interesting to me. So all the producers, I mean, to protect the brand, like Cedric Moosey had the RFID because he was seeing
that's interesting.
compromise. But yeah,
They're also doing it for marketing. It's really cool. Like you
Yeah.
can scan and it'll take you to an experience, a digital experience
Yeah.
about the wine.
yeah, Dan and Gene do that, like with the QR code. So the wine is
Yep.
digitized, and I think that it's really cool because you know where it's coming from. It's kind of like my French is really bad, but
Oh,
like
mine's
with
awful.
the Missy and Bouti, like the bottled at the domain, like
Oh, I
you
have no
know.
idea. Yeah.
So that's why we did this. Is like we can control the quality and like people know it's coming from us and not elsewhere. So it's yeah.
Yeah. No, that is very cool.
But thank you for sharing this.
Of course.
I mean, Blanc de Blanc from the Côte de Blanc is great, but this is Ori. So, yeah. You weren't at Celebrate Sparkling, the last one at Innovate, but they had this wine there, and I was like, damn.
Yeah. No, I asked to come, and I was told we're not allowing media. I'm like,
Oh,
really? I'm considered media? Jeez.
yeah.
Okay,
No,
fine.
it's fine. It's fine. There's been a lot of good conversation, so I'm
Yeah.
excited about that.
Yeah, no, that is good. Well, as we wrap up, do you have any questions or anything for me? You can put me on the spot if you'd like.
Go ahead. I have one.
Go for
Well,
it.
when you were asking us about what would we be in jail for, I was thinking, what would your daughter say you were in jail for?
Oh, What would I be in jail for? There are, in general, and like when I was talking about being in the produce department at the grocery store. Mm-hmm. If there are rules that I'm supposed to follow and they make absolutely no sense to me,
yeah,
I'm like, no, I'm not following that rule. So if there was a law or something that I broke because that is just absurd. That's what it, yeah, that would be it.
Nice.
What are you drinking more these days? Like, is there a specific region or?
I tend to be completely mostly Oregon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yes, give me all the sparkling.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
But just tried and true Pinot, Chard, sparkling.
Yeah.
It's nothing fancy, nothing super excited to get excited about in the world of wine. Mm-hmm. So I like exploring what's here and people's stories and just getting to understand, the wines that they make to better understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for listening to our story.
Oh, of course.
Continuing to follow us. Like, it's been fun getting to know you.
Yes,
and
same here.
Seeing you at all the events and everything. Yeah.
Yes,
So.
yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, we have a lot of runway ahead of us, so it's still just the beginning. I'm excited for when we look back on this and we're like, oh my gosh, that was what we thought back then, and oh, we didn't even have a baby yet, it'll be a good record, so appreciate it.
Oh, of course, and I appreciate you taking the time, on Super Bowl Sunday to come meet me, and hopefully you have enough time to get back home and enjoy the game.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, cool. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks,
you.
AJ.
Thank you for joining me on this flavorful voyage through the world of wine on the Weinnotes Podcast. I've been your host and guide, AJ Weinzettel, and it's been an absolute pleasure sharing these captivating stories with you. But alas, like the last sip of a fine vintage, our time together must end. But don't fret, my wine-loving friend. The cellar doors of the Weinnotes Podcast will always remain open, waiting for you to return and explore new conversations, stories, and musings from the captivating people behind the magical world of wine. Before you go, hit that subscribe button on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, and don't forget to leave a sparkling 5-star review to help spread the word. Until our glasses clink again, remember to savor life's moments and let the spirit of wine and camaraderie linger on your palate. Cheers, and as always, may your wine glass be full, your heart be light, and your journey be delightful.